As you know, rain is once again hitting our province, with more on the way. This will impact already soaked lands and waterways. The next 9 or 10 days could be quite challenging. Environment and Climate Change Canada has warned about a series of storms. We all need to pay close attention to the experts, as the forecasts for these will get more accurate the closer we get to these events. We're a resilient province, that is clear. We're strong, compassionate, and resolute. And above all, we help each other in good times and in bad times. Of course, the size of the current fight we're in together is significant. It's enormous. It involving first responders, volunteers, emergency workers, heavy equipment operators, farmers, work crews, transport drivers, just about everybody. And many more hardworking people going around the clock in all areas of the province. We're not out of the woods yet, but good work is being done on the ground to keep people safe and get communities the supports that they need. Emergency support services are working hard across the province and have registered more than 6,500 evacuees. On top of Emergency Management BC supports, existing student emergency assistance funding and Indigenous emergency assistance funding are available for students at both the Nicola Valley Institute of Technology and the University of the Fraser Valley. This money is to relieve pressure and stress on students. It is not a loan that has to be paid back, and helps students pay for living expenses, travel, and food. I want all students to know that help is there and our government is here for you. We're also working with the First Nations Health Authority and First Nations Emergency Services Society to get culturally safe support where it is needed and required. British Columbians have welcomed nearly 1,400 people into their homes offering billets. Thousands more are in commercial and group lodgings. The Canadian forces are on the ground and in the air. More than 120 troops are working in Abbotsford, with more being positioned as needed. And they're laboring shoulder to shoulder with work crews to repair destroyed infrastructure and help keep us safe from future storms. More than 4 million sandbags are ready to be deployed, with nearly 200,000 deployed so far, 45,000 at the Barrowtown pump alone. Through tireless effort, rail service is gradually being repaired, with CP reporting that shipments will be resuming today and CN working on the same for tomorrow. And I'm so glad to see so many of the people of Merritt start to make their way home in a 3-phased approach, with the first phase seeing 1,500 people returning today. This is encouraging news. As a reminder, when evacuated, please do not attempt to return home unless your local government says that it is safe to. We've been tested by disaster after disaster in recent years. Each time we have risen to the challenge by working together, by helping each other. One way that people can provide help in a very real way is by donating what they can to support flooding relief efforts. Trusted organizations like the United Way, food banks, the Canadian Red Cross, BC liquor stores are all accepting donations. A coalition of BC businesses has already donated about $1 million to the Red Cross's British Columbia Floods and Extreme Weather Appeal Fund. You can join them and many other British Columbians by donating what you can. The province is also stepping up. We are partnering with the Canadian Red Cross to provide financial assistance for thousands of people. Funds will be provided by the Red Cross to people whose primary residences have been placed on evacuation order due to flooding. Eligible households will receive $2,000. To access these funds, evacuated British Columbians need to register with the Red Cross by calling 1-800-863-6582. We will be issuing a release with these details, and details are also available on the Canadian Red Cross website. There are other ways you can help as well. You can help by keeping the roads clear and avoiding unnecessary travel through hard-hit areas, by conserving fuel, carpooling, and taking public transit whenever possible, by checking on a neighbor to see if you can save them a trip to the grocery store. It's also important to follow non-essential travel restrictions. Today, we're issuing an additional order to limit travel on Highway 7 from Merritt to Agassiz. This will have similar restrictions to the previously announced orders for our highways. Minister Fleming will have more information on that in a moment. Day after day, I'm feeling incredibly proud of the generosity and the strength of the people of our province. We know that working together is the only way to get through this disaster. That is the only way forward, no matter what comes our way next. There's a lot of hard work ahead, but I have no doubt that we will rebuild stronger than before. With that, I'll now turn it over to Minister Fleming. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much, Minister Farnworth. Just an update from the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure. Our focus remains on the reopening of vital trade corridors from the Lower Mainland to the interior and the north. Maintaining supply chains so people can get the products they need has been and continues to be our ministry's top priority. As we continue to work to reopen Highway 1, we need to ensure that the supply chain can move with limited disruption. Whether it's milk trucks, fuel trucks, or food deliveries, these essential goods are struggling right now to get through some of the congestion we're seeing in the Lower Mainland. In response, as Minister Farnworth just mentioned, we are extending the essential travel order along the Highway 7 corridor to include the segment of Highway 7 between Agassiz and Mission. Effective today on Highway 7 between Murray Street Road and Mission to Highway 1 and Hope, it will be restricted to essential travel only. It is imperative that we give priority to our essential supply chain, and this is the way that we can do that. This order is for the short term. It will come into effect at 8 p.m. tonight, allowing those who drove to work today to get home. We've also heard from school districts and others the importance of getting teachers and kids to school, as well as healthcare and other essential workers to their jobs in our healthcare system. So to address that, we're updating the definition of essential travel to include public transit vehicles, charter buses, and school buses to transport these workers and students while the order is in effect. Just by way of an additional update on Highway 1, reopening all of the flooded parts of Highway 1 remains our priority, but a lot of it depends on upcoming weather events. There is no estimated time of opening just now. It's raining again in the Sumas, and we don't know what more precipitation will do to impact Highway 1 further. In general, though, water has receded in eastbound lanes, so those are now exposed. If the weather doesn't affect this development, we should have a better sense as early as the end of day tomorrow about additional reopenings along Highway 1. By way of an update on Highway 3, currently the Highway 7 to Highway 3 corridor is the only route for commercial vehicles because of the significant damage to the Coquihalla and the highway up the Fraser Canyon. Yesterday, Highway 3 was closed briefly at a site near Manning Park that was damaged in last week's storm event. This was a preemptive closure that the ministry undertook, necessary until geotechnical engineers could get on site to do a full assessment. They did that. They acted quickly. They determined the highway could reopen with monitoring in place, and we had traffic moving again within a few hours of that closure. But the decision to close Highway 3, as I said, was about safety. And while we've had people working around the clock to get these routes open, safety is always going to take precedence as we move forward. While we're pleased that the closure on Highway 3 was brief, it's the only east-west commercial highway connection currently. The work we're doing with our partners to reestablish other links in the supply chain is working. CP is still scheduled to be back up and running today, and CN could be back in operation as early as tomorrow. The ability to move essential goods by rail is a major development, not just for BC, but for all of Canada. I mentioned Air Canada, as well as other airlines, are increasing cargo transport to BC from other provinces. Products continue to move through the U.S. border in record amounts in transit from the Lower Mainland to the Okanagan and the interior. Fuel is being barged in from the U.S. As we speak, and the coordination between all levels of government and the private sector to get essential goods moving has been a remarkable achievement that will be ongoing for some time. By way of a highway update on Highway 8, Merritt to Spences Bridge, BC highways in total were impacted at over 200 sites across the southern interior and the south coast, and some received more damage than others. Highway 8 is among those. This highway is closed approximately 20 kilometers from Merritt through to Spence's Bridge as a result of significant damage from the storm event. 18 segments of that highway sustained substantial damage. 4 bridges are either gone or damaged. Along Petey Creek Road, which is a side road off Highway 8, a temporary bridge has been set up near Canford. This is about 17 kilometers west of Merritt and will provide alternate access for some Indigenous communities and local residents to use and to reconnect to the rest of the province. Permanent repairs to the highway is going to take some time, and the engineering assessments are underway now. Provincial staff will be engaging with local Indigenous leaders as well as impacted residents and communities in the coming days. I want to reinforce Minister Farnworth's message around safety on our roads. Last night, unfortunately, we had brief closures on both Highway 7 and Highway 99, entirely due to preventable accidents. And this is a reminder to everyone. Our crews have made remarkable progress getting highways reopened to restricted travel, but we've all seen the images on the media. Conditions are not normal. These are still active construction sites, and we're asking people to be conscious about that. First rule is ask yourself, do I need to be out there? Don't be out there unless it's absolutely essential. If you are driving, slow down and follow the direction of traffic control personnel and be patient. It will be slow as you make your commute. If you're heading out of the Lower Mainland, be prepared for winter conditions. Before reopening any of our engineers as well, our engineers continue to fly and drive the highway before they give clearance to open it to the public. We'll continue to monitor all highways across the province to ensure that they remain safe. With more storms in the forecast, I want to reassure the public that we are ready. We have extra crews and equipment ready to be mobilized. Our staff and maintenance contractors will be out monitoring conditions, and if necessary for safety reasons, we may have to preemptively close highways. We hope not to, but that will be decided as we monitor weather events that could be pending on our province. In closing, our government was very pleased to hear in the throne speech today from the federal government that it announced it will develop Canada's first ever national adaptation strategy. This is a priority the province of BC shares, and in fact, a priority where work is well underway here in our province. In the immediate term, though, we're making very good progress in getting repairs completed where we can and highways back open. And this is only happening because thousands of people are pulling together and mobilizing together. Companies big and small have reached out asking how they can help. They've made their people and their equipment available. We have about 250 pieces of heavy equipment at work at impacted sites across BC right now. And this is an amazing and humbling development to see the outpouring of goodwill and the willingness to rebuild our province. And to everyone who's been a part of these efforts, on behalf of the province of BC, I want to thank you.